Conservative Party chairman, the new one, Mr. Greg Hands. Very good morning. Good to see you.
We're going to ask, could Conservative Party chairman Greg Hands be any more out of touch?
Good morning.
Now, tell me this. I assume, I haven't seen it in the headlines yet, I don't know why. I assume you'll tell us now the Conservative Party is in good hands.
Because recently he appeared on LBC twice over the last couple of weeks, and his line of argument seemed to be that things would only be worse under Labour. And just to show how in touch Greg is, here he is repeating the 5 priorities.
Rishi Sunak and the whole government are getting on with delivering on what we call the 5 priorities, which are halving inflation, restoring growth, cutting the debt, reducing hospital waiting lists and stopping the boats. You know, those are our priorities. Those are what I think the people's priorities are. That is what we will crack on with delivering.
And this plays into a wider point, going back to the question about the letter, is that Labour have got a long track record of running things badly, running out of other people's money, which was raised with the Prime Minister today.
Here he is on an Ian Dow panel show, bringing up Liam Byrne's no money left letter and how Labour can't be trusted with the economy.
At Prime Minister's questions by Nicola Richards.
So you must be so embarrassed that public debt in this country under a Conservative government is the highest it's ever been.
Well, debt is coming back under control. You know, a lot of that rose during the pandemic.
2.5 trillion. When you came into power, it was 800 billion.
Well, it's coming back under control.
Eventually, Lib Dem MP Layla Moran seems she can't take it anymore.
Well, I disagree. That is also out of date. I mean, what we have seen, particularly with the economic data being revised...
Are you saying that people's mortgages haven't gone up?
The economic data being revised is actually the UK is the best performing G7 country in
You're
Europe.
so out of touch,
No,
Greg.
That is
No, I'm
that's
sorry,
last
I've got
week's
to challenge
economic
you.
data.
You are
that is
so
the brand
out
new
of
You're a
touch.
year out of date. I'm talking last week's economic revised
and I'm
data.
talking about the doors I knocked on last week.
Britain is actually the best recovering major economy in Europe.
Greg, you are so out of it.
You try telling that to somebody who rings into this show day after day saying, well, OK, we may be the fastest growing economy. That's the macro side. I'm giving you the micro side. My experience, my mortgage has got, I mean, I'll give you my experience. My mortgage has gone up £1,000 a month. Now, I'm lucky in that I can afford to do that. But if I was on an average salary, I would not be able to.
No, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. If this whole exchange, I'm sorry, Greg, you are so out of touch.
You're a year behind.
You are so out of touch. No, you are out. You are on a different planet.
I'm talking about a week
ago. The experience of people in this country does not bear up to what you're saying. Some sort of revision in past tense.
It's a very important
the economy. Well, you tell it to my constituents who contact me, who are looking at leaving their houses because they aren't able to afford their mortgage, because they are now going to food banks because they can't afford to put food on the table for their children. I'm sorry. The Conservative Party from top to bottom has lost touch with people and reality.
Now I'm going to jump over to the Andrew Marr show where Greg is asked if he thinks the economy is working for working people.
Do you think the economy works for working people now?
Well, look, I think in terms of, it's very popular, things like the minimum service level, some of the anti-strike legislation, actually works for working people. Who actually takes the train in the morning to get into work? It is working people. Who actually uses ambulances and depends on other services for their livelihood and their well-being is actually working people. So I think a lot of what we're doing is to benefit working people.
His argument seems to be that working people are happy as long as they're not being hindered by strikes, forgetting perhaps that many people working have felt the need to strike for more money. He has these suggestions for those unionised people.
A lot of the people who will be voting in the general election are unionised workers. What are you offering them?
Well, what we're offering them is continued prosperity, access to the economy, record low levels of joblessness. Unemployment remains at a 30-year low, employment at a high. These are the things, real jobs for real people.
I think Layla is best suited to cap Greg's last statement.
I mean, I'm sorry, we are now at the point where it used to be the case, perhaps, once upon a time, when people might look at the Conservative Party and think, OK, you know, I don't like everything they do, but you can probably trust them with money. I genuinely don't think that the Conservatives, after the debacle of the last year and how people are feeling and what they are having to do to make ends meet, that people can credibly look at the Conservative Party and say that anymore. So I'm sorry, you know, but I think Dan's completely right. They've got nothing left, that they've got to hark back to 13 years.
Click here to see how Brexit Britain is like Tom and Jerry.